This episode is brought to you by Amazon Business. We could all use more time. Amazon Business offers smart business buying solutions, so you can spend more time growing your business and less time doing the admin. I can see why they call it smart. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Welcome to From Dorms to Desks, job hunting tips for those early in their careers. A podcast brought to you by College Recruiter job search site, which believes that every student and recent grad deserves a great career, and hosted by Work Defined. Join our AI co-hosts as they dive into tips, tricks, and insights that will help you land your next part-time, seasonal, internship, or entry-level job. Let's get your career started.
Okay, let's unpack this. You're scrolling through LinkedIn, maybe Instagram too, and it just hits you like a ton of bricks, right? Everyone you know, everyone in your network, it seems like they've effortlessly landed their dream summer internship.
Yeah.
Their feeds are like overflowing with these celebratory posts, you know, the shiny new profile pictures with company logos and just this wave of I made it energy.
Mm-hmm. Totally palpable.
But for you, maybe the reality is, well, starkly different. You're sitting there maybe staring at an empty inbox and just wondering, is it too late for me? Did I completely miss the boat?
Am I behind?
Exactly. Am I somehow just behind everyone else? And that feeling can be incredibly isolating, like you're stuck in slow motion while everyone else is sprinting ahead.
And what's truly fascinating here, and honestly really, really common, is how deeply that feeling of being too late sinks in. Especially for students who are just starting to figure out this whole career search thing. It's intimidating. It's more than just feeling discouraged. It often becomes this kind of internal panic almost, this silent fear that you've already failed somehow before you've even really begun.
Right.
But if we kind of connect this to the bigger picture, if we really peel back the layers of how internships actually work, the reality might be way more optimistic. And definitely more dynamic than it feels when you're caught in that social media comparison trap.
That endless scroll.
Exactly. The anxiety you feel, that's absolutely real, no question. But the situation itself, it's often profoundly misunderstood.
That's why I'm so excited for this deep dive today. Our mission, really custom tailored for you, the listener who feels this exact pressure, is to shed some light on the actual kind of nuanced landscape of internships.
Yeah, let's get into it.
We're going to dive headfirst into those common anxieties, confront those discouraging thoughts, and crucially, reveal what your options really are. Even if the traditional paths feel totally closed off, or maybe you've just faced a string of tough rejections.
Which happens a lot.
Right. So we're going to debunk some of those persistent myths about internship timelines, share some surprising facts about late season hiring that might just, change your whole perspective.
And explore some really valuable alternatives too. Things that can be just as impactful, sometimes even more impactful for your long-term career.
Exactly.
Our goal today is really to equip you, not just with concrete strategies, but also hopefully a renewed sense of confidence. We want to help you transform that stress, that anxiety you might be feeling, into a powerful, actionable understanding.
Understanding that there are still doors open.
Many doors. Yeah. Doors you might not have even realized existed. It's about making that shift, from feeling reactive, like you're always chasing.
Yeah, playing catch up.
To being proactive, where you're actually creating your own opportunities.
Okay, so let's jump right into segment 1 then. Let's really explore the intensity of this whole internship season. Because it is intense, there's no denying it. And that feeling of discouragement, well, like we said, it's incredibly relatable.
Oh, absolutely. When we talk about summer internships, a lot of industry folks, like the people at College Recruiter, they call it the Super Bowl of internships.
Or maybe the Olympics for our global listeners.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, it's not really an exaggeration. It truly draws this immense, almost overwhelming level of competition. You've got students from every single year of study across basically every major imaginable.
From all over the country.
Right. Universities nationwide. And often, this is key, a large number of international students too, all basically vying for what feels like a very, very limited number of those super coveted roles.
And okay, when you have that kind of insane demand, what happens? It's just basic economics, right? Employers can afford to be incredibly selective.
Extremely selective.
The bar for entry isn't just raised, it's practically in the stratosphere for some of these roles. Think about it. If they're getting hundreds, maybe even thousands of applications for just a handful of spots.
Which they often are.
They're going to scrutinize every single detail. And often they prioritize candidates who applied way, way back, like in the fall.
Mm-hmm. That's a big one.
Yeah.
The most competitive roles, especially in those high-demand fields, think finance, consulting, big tech, they often open their applications really early, sometimes August or September for the following summer.
Whoa.
Yeah. And this early recruitment window for those top-tier roles, it really feeds into that feeling of a race. You feel this intense pressure to be like first out of the gates.
And if you're not,
that anxiety immediately starts creeping in. Oh no, I'm already behind.
yeah, that psychological effect, being caught in this perceived race, it's profound, isn't it?
It really is. It just inherently contributes to student anxiety and that pervasive feeling of missing out.
FOMO.
Right. If you see your peers, proudly posting on LinkedIn in September, October about the internship they landed for next summer, and you're maybe just starting your search in the spring, it's incredibly easy to internalize that, to feel like it's a personal failure or a sign you're somehow behind.
Right.
This perception of high stakes, this feeling that the window is rapidly closing, it can just completely drain your motivation. It makes it so much harder to keep going with what is already, let's be honest, a pretty arduous and often thankless application process.
Oh, it's exhausting, just feeling like you're constantly playing catch up.
Exactly.
And that emotional toll, that weight of feeling behind, it leads directly into the widespread discouragement we hear about all the time. It's not just like a few isolated cases. It feels like a really shared experience for so many students. We've seen discussions, on platforms like Reddit, where students are just openly venting this profound sense of being behind or late. Can you imagine the sheer resilience and maybe desperation it takes to send out like 1,000+ apps with no offers yet, as one student put it?
1,000+.
Yeah.
That's staggering.
It's not just the number. It speaks volumes about the relentless persistence required only to be met with silence or rejection after rejection.
And the emotional and practical impact of that kind of discouragement, it's huge. We hear about rapid-fire rejections all the time, but maybe even more disheartening is the ghosting after interviews.
Oh, that's the worst.
Isn't it? You prepare, you show up, you give it your absolute all, you think it went well, and then just nothing. Complete radio silence. That lack of closure can be way more demoralizing than a straight no.
Definitely.
One student, just summing up their exhaustion, shared, "It's mad discouraging," while another admitted, "I feel so doomed at this point." Some even start questioning if their whole chosen field might be dead. That really shows the depth of the despair that can creep in.
Wow, that's heavy.
And it's so, so important to acknowledge the unique challenges, the often compounded difficulties faced by international students.
Right.
They're often studying on student loans. They feel this even greater, more immediate pressure to get an offer because of visa rules and maybe a more limited pool of companies that can even sponsor them. As one Reddit user pointed out, struggle is particularly tough for Intel folks on student loans.
It really is a heavy weight, isn't it? When you hear about someone being waitlisted from Amazon after clearing multiple rounds of interviews, like one person shared, it just hits home how brutally competitive this whole thing can be.
So close.
Right. You feel like you're so close, and then the door just doesn't quite swing open. All this external pressure, maybe it's from parents, maybe it's that relentless highlight reel on social media where everyone seems to be succeeding.
Yeah, the curated feeds.
Or just this general societal feeling that you need to have something impressive lined up. It all mixes with your own internal pressure and can just crush your motivation to keep applying.
Yeah.
It really is a shared struggle. So, okay, this widespread feeling of being too late, it's super relatable, we've established that, but this leads to the big question. Is that feeling actually grounded in the reality of how internships are secured? Or is there a surprising truth here? Maybe something counterintuitive that could take some of that pressure off. Let's maybe unpack the actual data.
Yes, let's do that. Because this is where it gets really interesting and potentially, honestly, a game changer for your mindset. You might assume, like many students do, that if you don't have a summer internship locked down by, say, January or February, you're basically out of luck.
Yeah, that the good ones are gone.
Exactly. That the prime opportunities have vanished. But a truly surprising fact emerges when you look at credible reports, like the Penn and Beyond study. The peak period for actually receiving summer internship offers is much, much later than most people think.
Okay, I'm intrigued. How much later?
Significantly later. According to that Penn and Beyond report, the most common months for students to actually get those summer internship offers are March and April. That period accounts for a whopping 44% of all offers.
Wow, almost half.
Almost half, yeah. And then May and June follow right behind, making up another 22%. So if you add those up...
That's what, 66%? No, 79%?
79%. A huge majority, nearly 4 out of 5 summer internships are actually finalized during the spring semester. This isn't just a bit later than you thought. It completely redraws the map of the internship season for most opportunities.
That is a massive takeaway for anyone feeling discouraged right now.
Absolutely critical. It directly contradicts that ingrained idea that the window slams shut early in the spring. It means the race is far, far from over for most people looking for most types of roles.
Okay, so that fundamentally means that tons of companies are actively posting opportunities in February, March, even later into the spring. So why? Why would that be the case?
Well, we can speculate on a few really practical reasons. Companies, especially maybe those outside the huge superstructured programs, might be finalizing their budgets later in the year. Fiscal years often end in spring.
Okay, that makes sense.
Or, and this is probably more common, they're identifying immediate project needs that just weren't on the radar during their earlier long-term planning.
Like something unexpected pops up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
An unexpected client project lands on their desk, a key team member goes on leave, a new initiative suddenly gets the green light. Any number of things can create an urgent, immediate need for extra hands, for intern support.
Right.
So this data really points to this systemic mismatch between when students feel the most anxiety about getting an internship.
Like in the fall and early winter?
Right. And when the actual hiring cycles for the majority of opportunities really peak, which is later in the spring, it's not your fault if you felt behind. The common wisdom about the timeline isn't always accurate.
That shift in perspective is huge, knowing the race isn't necessarily over when you thought it was.
Exactly. It provides that crucial shift. But, and this is important, we need to add a layer of nuance here. While the overall trend points later, timing can still vary quite a bit by industry.
Okay. So it's not a one-size-fits-all timeline.
Definitely not. This leads us to a really important point about industry-specific hiring. It's definitely not a monolithic landscape out there.
That's a critical distinction, because while the bigger picture looks more optimistic time-wise, we can't ignore that some sectors absolutely play by different rules.
For sure.
Like you mentioned earlier, those super competitive fields of finance, especially investment banking, top-tier consulting firms, the really big tech companies, they tend to get their primary interviews and hiring rounds done much, much earlier.
Way earlier.
We're talking applications opening late summer or early fall for the next summer, right? With offers often going out by December or January.
Correct. These companies, they have these deeply structured, often massive internship programs, and they plan their talent pipeline way, way ahead. It's a very organized, very early process for them.
Okay. But here's the flip side, right? The counterpoint that offers hope.
Exactly. This is where the opportunity lies for many. Almost all other industries tend to conduct their interviews and hire their summer interns later, specifically throughout that spring semester we talked about.
Okay, so what kind of industries are we talking about?
Oh, a huge range. Smaller, more agile companies, dynamic startups in all sorts of sectors, health tech, fintech, ed tech, you name it, and also mission-driven nonprofits. These types of organizations often operate with a lot more flexibility.
Why is that, do you think?
Well, maybe it's their more agile nature, or maybe it's because their project needs are just more immediate and less predictable. They might not know in October exactly what help they'll need the following June, so they tend to post opportunities much closer to the actual start date, sometimes just weeks before.
Okay, so this raises a really important question for you, the listener, doesn't it?
Definitely.
Are you maybe inadvertently limiting your search? Are you focusing only on those intensely early hiring, super competitive sectors when this whole broader, potentially more accessible landscape of opportunity exists just outside that narrow spotlight?
That's a fantastic point, and it really hits home. Think about the contrast.
Mm-hmm.
A huge investment bank might have its entire intern class locked down tight by December. We know that.
Right.
But a nimble tech startup, maybe one specializing in, AI for sustainable agriculture, they might suddenly realize in April that they desperately need someone with exactly your data analysis skills for a new project that just came up.
Totally different rhythm.
Completely. The College Recruiter source highlights this contrast really well between those early trending industries, like finance, consulting, big tech, and the much broader, often equally rewarding opportunities in smaller companies, startups, or niche subgroups like nonprofit consulting.
And where do you find these later opportunities?
Critically, platforms like Handshake,
Right.
which many universities use, your own university's career portal, even just direct company websites. They're constantly being updated with these later cycle openings. It's not about giving up on your dream industry necessarily, but maybe expanding your definition of where that dream can start.
Okay, so the door isn't closed. The data shows that.
Hey friends, Marnie Robbins here, host of Vibe Makers, a podcast now on the Work Defined Network. Look, we all know workplace culture doesn't come from a slide deck. Gross. It comes from people. So on Vibe Makers, I talk to the folks shaping the experience of work from the inside out. You know, the HR and people ops folk, founders, leaders, and misfits building culture through small bets, big beliefs, and a whole lot of trial and error. No fluff. Well, maybe a little fluff, but mainly just candid talk about what happens when you stop duct taping your culture together. Come check us out. Listen to Vibe Makers wherever you get your podcasts.
What proactive steps can you take right now to find these available opportunities, even if you feel like you're playing catch-up a bit?
Right. This moves us into our concrete strategies for late season success. It's really time to shift from that passive waiting game to active engagement.
Okay, let's hear them. This is where you can really stand out, isn't it? Even if you feel like you missed those early waves.
Absolutely. So instead of just passively scrolling job boards and hitting apply, which, let's face it, is what everyone else is doing.
Yeah, sending resumes into the void.
Exactly. A highly effective and often really overlooked strategy is to proactively pitch yourself directly to companies.
Pitch yourself. How does that work?
It involves identifying a company you genuinely admire, maybe one in a sector you're really passionate about. Then you do some digging. Some deep targeted research into their current work, their recent news, maybe even challenges you think they might be facing.
Okay, so homework first.
Homework first, definitely. Once you have that insight, the key is to propose a specific value-driven initiative, or maybe a short-term project that you could lead for them. You're not just asking for a job, you're essentially offering a solution.
Ah, I see. So you're showing initiative right from the start.
Precisely. This approach completely flips the script on the job search. It turns it from a reactive process, please hire me, into a proactive, almost entrepreneurial one. It positions you not just as an applicant, but as a genuine problem solver who can add immediate, tangible value.
That sounds powerful.
It is. Because you're demonstrating crucial traits, employers love initiative, resourcefulness, adaptability, and understanding of their business needs before you even get an interview. By showing you understand their world and offering a tailored solution, you can effectively bypass that huge application pile and stand out dramatically.
You're not just another resume.
Exactly. You're a specific solution to a potential problem they might have.
That's really cool. Do you have examples of this working?
Yeah, the College Recruiter source actually gives some brilliant real-world examples. There's a business student in Calgary, right? Landed a July internship with a property management firm. Not through a job posting, but by emailing the regional manager with a custom proposal.
What was the proposal?
His pitch was basically, your peak leasing season is coming up. I bet tenant communication gets crazy. Let me help optimize that. He identified a clear pain point and offered a specific way he could help during their busiest time. Really smart. Or consider another example. A client in Montreal identified a local nonprofit that was struggling with high volunteer turnover. So what did they do? Proactively reached out, offered to help create a streamlined onboarding process to fix that specific pressing issue, and boom, secured a mid-August start date.
Wow.
These aren't just lucky breaks. They really reinforce that idea that initiative is your resume's best headline.
Yeah.
You're not just saying you want to learn. You're showing you can contribute value, maybe even before they realized they needed that specific help.
That proactive approach seems like it would align really well with the flexibility you mentioned earlier, the kind found in less traditional hiring cycles.
It aligns perfectly. Which brings us to our next crucial strategy. Leveraging that late season flexibility and the advantages of looking outside the main summer internship rush.
Okay.
Remember, many mid-sized firms, smaller nonprofits, specialized consulting boutiques, agile tech startups, unlike the giants, they often hire interns year-round.
Not just for summer.
Not just for summer. Their needs are frequently driven by immediate, evolving project requirements or maybe operational gaps that pop up unexpectedly. They're not always tied to rigid annual recruiting calendars planned a year in advance.
And we have actual data on this, right?
We do. That 2023 survey from the Canadian Chamber of Commerce, it found that a really significant number, 38% of businesses hired interns outside of the traditional recruitment windows.
38%, that's more than a third.
Exactly. And why? The main reasons they gave were unpredictable project cycles and short-term process improvement goals, things that just came up.
Okay, so this brings us back to that question for you, the listener.
Are you considering all the potential avenues? Are you looking beyond those well-trodden paths that everyone else seems focused on? Because this less competitive environment, looking outside the peak season, can actually lead to what some people call an autumn advantage, or maybe a spring surge.
An advantage? How so?
Well, you might simply stand out more because there's less competition. Fewer people applying in, say, October for an immediate start, or in April for a late summer role.
Okay.
And this autumn advantage idea suggests that by applying off-season, students might actually step into more critical roles. They might gain experience that's more impactful than being, one of 100 interns in a massive summer program.
Because there are fewer interns overall.
Right. With fewer interns, you're not just another face in the crowd. You often get more individualized attention, more direct mentorship from senior people, and maybe even a higher level of real responsibility.
Which could be great for learning.
Fantastic for learning. And potentially, this focused engagement could lead to significantly higher conversion rates for full-time offers down the line, because you've had a real chance to prove your worth in a much more visible way.
So what kind of companies should people target for this?
Think about specific sectors that might value immediate needs, like mid-sized 3PLs, that's third-party logistics companies, the ones managing supply chains for others.
Okay.
And other logistics firms, too. As Joe Spisak, CEO of Fulfill.com, pointed out, these types of organizations often prioritize immediate needs and sharp analytical minds over rigid recruiting calendars. They offer really dynamic, often overlooked opportunities.
So to really tap into these kinds of opportunities, these off-cycle or late-season roles, what's essential?
Two things, really. Effective networking and, maybe most importantly, keeping an open mind. It's not just about filling out online forms anymore. It's fundamentally about connecting with actual people.
Networking. Always comes back to networking, doesn't it?
It really does. Proactively reaching out to your existing network. Think alumni from your school, working at companies you like. Professors who have industry connections, maybe professionals you've met at events. This can uncover a goldmine of unlisted or hidden gem openings.
The ones that never get posted online.
Exactly. The ones filled by word-of-mouth referral before they ever hit a job board.
And this isn't just for business majors, right? Networking is key for everyone.
Absolutely critical for all students, even those in highly technical fields like computer science who might traditionally think, oh, I just need to submit my code samples online. The Reddit threads we saw. CS students were explicitly being advised to cold email around to see if anyone needs an intern, and definitely to reach out to some alumni.
So proactive outreach.
Proactive relationship building, not just blasting applications into the ether. And beyond formal internships, it's also about being genuinely open-minded about what constitutes valuable experience, meaning consider remote internships. Look at short-term projects, maybe part-time roles, or even strategic volunteer positions. The specific label internship isn't always the most important thing. What matters is the valuable resume-building, maybe management-related experience you gain.
Right. It's the skills, not just the title.
It's the skills, the experience, the network you build. These unconventional roles, even if they aren't called internship, can provide substantial hands-on learning and help you build those crucial professional connections. Those connections can absolutely lead to future, more formal opportunities later on.
Yeah, like Joe Benson, co-founder of Eversight, said, right, a short-term internship can lead to long-term opportunities if you show commitment and curiosity.
Exactly. It's about getting your foot in the door and proving your value. Also, don't overlook larger, maybe less conventional employers. Think about the Department of Energy's national laboratories.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. They hire literally thousands of interns every year. Of course, a huge range of fields. Science engineering, sure, but also communications, operations, project management. And some of those opportunities definitely stay open well into the late season. It's about broadening your search beyond just the usual corporate suspects.
Okay. So we've talked about proactive strategies, networking, being open-minded. But what if, despite all that, a traditional formal internship just doesn't happen by summer? Does that mean it's a lost summer?
Absolutely not. This raises a really important question. Are there valuable, equally effective ways to build your career competencies outside of those structured programs? And the answer is a resounding yes, which brings us to exploring some powerful alternatives and skill-building strategies that are often underestimated.
Okay, like what? What's a key alternative?
Well, a fantastic and increasingly recognized one, especially for students who might face systemic barriers to traditional internships, is something called work-based learning, or WBL.
Work-based learning. Tell me more.
This approach offers a really viable and, importantly, equitable pathway. It's particularly helpful for underserved or underrepresented students who might struggle with, say, financial constraints or sociocultural barriers or institutional hurdles that make landing a traditional internship, which are often unpaid or low paid, really difficult.
So how does it work?
What's really innovative and powerful about WBL is that it can leverage students' current work experiences. Yes, even that part-time job you have at a coffee shop or working retail or delivering food, it uses those existing jobs as a structured platform for learning and developing professional skills.
Wait, so your regular part-time job can count as valuable experience?
If structured correctly, absolutely. This is a really important point for equity and experiential learning. There was a groundbreaking study by Banerjee and Bingen at the University of Wisconsin-Parkside, published just recently in 2024.
Okay.
It vividly showed how a specific course model built around students' existing work could be just as effective, sometimes even more effective, than traditional internships in certain ways.
Really? How did they measure that?
They looked at student outcome data from a diverse group of 20 disadvantaged students, and they found significant, measurable improvement across all 8 of the core NACE career competencies.
Those are the standard skills employers look for, right? Critical thinking, communication.
Exactly. Teamwork, leadership, professionalism, career and self-development, global intercultural fluency, and technology. All 8 saw improvement. But the most notable gains in this specific study were in leadership, career and self-development, and critical thinking.
Wow. So you can develop leadership skills from a part-time job.
If you're guided to reflect on it properly, yes.
Finish training for the day? Time to fight post-workout fatigue with Core Power Protein Shakes. They're packed with 26 grams of high-quality protein to build muscle and electrolytes to help hydrate. The nutrition you need to help your body replenish, rebuild, and repair post-workout so you can power on to the next one. Champion your recovery with Core Power. Visit corepower.com to learn more.
The study highlights how WBL serves as this powerful tool to mitigate equity concerns. It does that by valuing and formalizing the learning that happens in any real-world work context, not just fancy internships.
That is truly fascinating. So if work-based learning can achieve the same, maybe even better competency development as traditional internships, it kind of begs the question, doesn't it? Why isn't this more widely recognized? Why isn't it supported more as a primary pathway for all students?
It's a great question. It essentially levels the playing field, right? Mm-hmm. It validates existing real-world experience and focuses relentlessly on tangible skill acquisition, which, let's be honest, is the whole point of experiential learning in the first place.
Yeah.
It sends this powerful message that valuable experience doesn't have to come with a fancy corporate title or fit into a specific recruitment window. It comes from applying yourself, learning, and contributing wherever you are.
So the spirit of WBL, gaining experience through action and reflection, that can apply elsewhere too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It extends naturally to other self-directed opportunities, even if you don't find a formal program or course.
Okay, so what does that look like if a formal internship just isn't in the cards?
Right. If it's not secured, maybe because you started looking late or you just want a different path, then dedicating your summer or your off time to side projects or engaging in meaningful volunteer work or even taking on a strategic part-time job can be incredibly valuable.
But the key is being strategic about it, right? Not just any activity.
Exactly. The focus here isn't just filling time. It's about purposefully choosing and then framing those experiences in a way that develops skills you can clearly talk about in interviews. Skills you can powerfully present on your resume as directly relevant experience, even if the title wasn't intern.
So it's like a strategic investment of your time.
Precisely. A conscious investment in your own professional development. It's about actively building a portfolio of skills, demonstrating clear initiative, showing your problem-solving abilities, and proving you have that drive to learn, even without the official intern badge.
So this raises another question for you, the listener. How can you figure out what skills to build? How do you identify what a company might need, even if they haven't posted a job for it?
Yeah, it requires a little bit of like detective work. Maybe some basic market research in the fields you're interested in. And definitely that proactive entrepreneurial mindset we keep coming back to. Think about how you could solve a small, manageable problem for maybe a local business or nonprofit you care about.
That seems really practical.
It is. And the advice we saw on Reddit echoes this exact mindset. Things like, do some side projects that you can talk about. Definitely Develop your skills, become better than the other applicants. Keep trying to make connections, and critically, maybe get a random job so you can keep earning money while you build other things.
Right. These aren't just fallback options. They're proactive steps.
Deliberate steps to build your profile, enhance your skills, demonstrate your value. Think about offering your skills, maybe technical skills, marketing help, administrative support to small businesses in your community.
Because they might need help, but can't afford a full-time person or don't know how to recruit.
Exactly. Many lack the resources or the time or maybe even the expertise to recruit for specific short-term needs. But they might desperately need help building a basic website or managing their social media presence or organizing their inventory system or just improving customer service emails.
So you identify their pain points.
Identify a pain point and then proactively offer a specific solution. Hey, I noticed your website looks a bit dated. I have some web design skills. Could I help you refresh it? You demonstrate your value directly, and you build real-world experience you can put on your resume.
Okay, so whether it's through a formal internship, work-based learning, or these self-made opportunities, the critical final step is presenting it all effectively, right? On the resume.
Absolutely. The resume is how you translate all that hard work, all that skill development into a language that employers immediately understand and hopefully appreciate.
And your resume, it's almost always that very first impression. Sometimes it's the only chance you get to make that impression count.
So true.
So it absolutely has to be meticulously tailored to each and every specific job description you apply for. You need to strategically use the specific keywords from the posting.
Why is that so important? The keywords.
Because of the applicant tracking systems, the ATS. These are the software programs, the bots, basically, that scan and filter resumes before a human recruiter even sees them most of the time.
Ah, the gatekeepers.
Exactly. If your resume isn't formatted cleanly, if it's missing those specific terms from the job description, or if it's visually confusing for the software, it might just get filtered out automatically, regardless of how qualified you actually are.
Ouch.
Yeah. And don't forget the basics. Clearly state your expected graduation date. Many internship programs strictly require you to be currently enrolled. And critically, you need to powerfully highlight your accomplishments, not just list your duties. What did you actually achieve?
Right. This is where that XYZ format we hear about comes in. It's super effective for resume bullet points because it forces you to articulate impact.
Remind us what XYZ stands for.
Sure. It's accomplished X the result by doing Y the action, which resulted in Z the quantifiable outcome or impact. And wherever possible, quantify those results. Numbers speak volumes.
So instead of just saying manage social media.
Right. A much more impactful bullet point would be something like increase social media engagement X by 30% Z by developing and implementing a new content strategy. Why? See? It tells the recruiter what value you actually brought. They prioritize that quantifiable impact.
Makes sense. What about resume design? Fancy visuals.
Well, creative visuals can work for certain roles, maybe in design or marketing, but you have to always prioritize ATS compatibility first. That means ensuring legibility, using standard formatting, common fonts. The system needs to be able to read it easily.
Got it. Function over form, at least initially.
Pretty much. And use strong action verbs at the start of your bullet points. Words like orchestrated, implemented, analyzed, negotiated, launched. They convey capability and drive much better than passive phrases.
Okay. And the power of this resume isn't just for documenting formal internships, right? It's about framing all your experiences.
Exactly. Even without that direct, traditional internship experience, you possess incredibly valuable skills. Skills gained through tough coursework, independent personal projects, part-time jobs, leadership roles in student clubs, volunteer work. All of that is applicable and should be highlighted.
So it's on you, the job seeker, to really look critically at everything you've done.
Yes. Evaluate all your experiences and identify the transferable skills within them. This loops right back to those principles of work-based learning, remember, where every experience contributes to your overall competency development.
Okay, but this raises a practical question. How do you confidently talk about these non-traditional experiences? How do you convince an employer they're relevant?
It's about drawing clear, compelling connections. You need to explicitly link what you've done, even if it was organizing a student event or managing inventory at a retail job, to the specific requirements and challenges of the job you're applying for. Even if the titles don't seem like a perfect match, the underlying skills often are. You are often way more qualified than you realize.
That's a great piece of reassurance. I heard a recruiter say something similar.
Yeah. What was that?
Something like, no previous internship experience, don't worry. Showcase the skills you have learned through courses, projects, part-time work, leadership, volunteerism, etc. You have applicable experiences. It really stuck with me.
That's perfect advice. It really is about shifting your mindset, recognizing the value in all your experiences, and then confidently presenting your unique story and your proven abilities.
Okay, so a strong, tailored resume opens doors. But you mentioned earlier the real magic often happens through personal connections and timely action.
Absolutely. Those elements can truly give you an unparalleled edge, especially in a competitive market or when you're looking for those late-season opportunities where speed and directness really matter.
So what kind of actions are we talking about beyond just applying?
Well, consider attending career fairs, even if they feel a bit chaotic or overwhelming sometimes.
Why? What's the benefit there?
They offer direct, face-to-face interaction with recruiters and hiring managers, something an online application just cannot replicate. You can make a personal impression.
Okay, what else?
Be prepared to initiate coffee chats. Reach out to people at companies you're interested in, maybe through alumni connections or LinkedIn. These informal, informational conversations can turn into invaluable connections, provide insider tips, and sometimes even uncover those unlisted opportunities we talked about.
The hidden job market.
Exactly. And when you do find a position you want, apply to it ASAP, as soon as it's posted. Some advice even suggests applying within the first couple of hours.
Really? It's that fast?
Yeah, the thinking is it can significantly increase your visibility. Recruiters often review the earliest applications first just to get started. It shows you're eager and paying attention.
Okay, good tip. And if you land an interview?
Then shift your mindset. Don't just go in passively to answer questions. Go in prepared to actively engage. Be ready to articulate the specific value you bring and, critically, how you can help solve their problems. That proactive problem-solving mindset we discussed earlier, bring it to the interview. It really sets you apart.
Right.
And remember, receiving that first internship offer, whenever it comes, it can be an incredibly exciting and affirming moment. Like the culmination of all that effort and persistence. It's a powerful reminder that even when things feel tough, even when you feel behind, the opportunities are absolutely out there. You just need to be strategic, persistent, and determined.
Wow. Okay. What a deep dive that was. We've really taken a comprehensive, kind of no-holds-barred look into this whole internship landscape, which can definitely be anxiety-inducing. We've basically confirmed that, yeah, the early bird might catch some worms, but there are still tons of opportunities, abundant and often overlooked for those who know where and how to look, especially as the season goes on.
Yeah, we really debunked that pervasive too late myth, didn't we? Showing with actual data that a huge majority of summer internship offers happen much later than people think, mostly in the spring.
Right. And we explored those surprising kind of nuanced timelines of late season hiring, showing how different industries operate on different schedules.
And crucially, we tried to arm you with proactive strategies, like creating your own opportunities by pitching value directly to companies. That's a big one.
Definitely. And we've validated the power and the fairness, really, of alternatives like work-based learning, showing how it can be just as effective as traditional internships. Plus, self-directed projects, strategic part-time jobs, all building crucial real-world skills.
And maybe most importantly, we underscored how all your experiences, everything from tough classes and passion projects to part-time jobs and volunteer work, all of it can be effectively presented on a tailored resume to really make you shine.
It's about recognizing that every experience adds something meaningful, right? And that your unique journey is actually your greatest asset.
Absolutely. Yeah. So considering everything we've discussed today, the increasing demand for real experiential learning, the diverse pathways to actually developing skills, it raises kind of a big thought-provoking question for you, the listener, to mull over.
Okay, what's that?
How might we, as a society, maybe within our universities and companies, how might we collectively redefine the whole concept of an internship? How can we make it more inclusive, more adaptable, and genuinely more equitable for every single student, regardless of their circumstances, their background, or even the time of year they happen to be looking?
This has been From Dorms to Desks, job hunting tips for those early in their careers. A podcast brought to you by College Recruiter job search site, which believes that every student and recent grad deserves a great career. Each episode, we dive into tips, tricks, and insights that will help you land your next part-time, seasonal, internship, or entry-level job. Subscribe to this podcast for free now, so you don't miss an episode, and visit www.collegerecruiter.com to find your next great job.
Every minute your finance team spends wrestling with data is a minute lost. Insight Software's AI-powered insights instantly move you from complexity to clarity. Automated analysis, real-time reporting, strategic recommendations, all at your fingertips. Transform how your finance team works and watch your business grow. Stop wasting time. Start making smarter decisions. Learn more at insightsoftware.com/AI.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I don't know if you've heard, but Mint's premium wireless is $15 a month. But I'd like to offer one other perk. We have no stores. That means no small talk. Crazy weather we're having. No, it's not. It's just weather. It is an introvert's dream. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan. $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.